Hey everybody, we're going to do something really fun today. You can do this any time of year, but today we're going to color eggs naturally with cabbage, beets, and a little bit of spice, a little bit of turmeric. Let me show you how to do it, and I'll include a link in the comments so you can get everything you need when you click on that link. But it was super fun. I had a great time doing it. I'm going to be doing it with all the kids that I'm seeing this week. And we are going to start just by walking you through exactly how to create the color. All you need is about a quarter of a head of cabbage. Not very much at all. As a matter of fact, this bowl right here is all I use to give you a little bit of an idea of how much. This is the cabbage that I colored my dye with. Then what you need is just one small beet. You're going to cut off the outer edges and go ahead and get that whole peel off, and then just chop it up, and you're going to put that in some water. So the cabbage goes in 2.5 cups of water. The beets goes in 1.5 cups of water, and you're going to let them both simmer. They both simmer for 20 minutes. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell you what to add to create the color. But I wanted to mention the other color we're going to do is yellow, and that's made with turmeric. It's a beautiful spice that will turn, gosh, almost anything a lovely golden color, but in this case, we're doing eggs. So all I did was I boiled, actually simmered 1.5 cups of water with just a little bit of turmeric in it, about a teaspoon or so, and make sure you stir it well. That only has to simmer for 10 minutes. Okay, great. Now again, remember, I'm going to put a link in the comments for you so you'll have all the directions. But in short, after I did that, I simply drained the liquid with the cabbage and poured it into a bowl, and then I divided it. These are the two I've got right here, because the cabbage not only makes purple, it also makes robin's egg blue. And I'll tell you how to do that in just a sec. Then what I did is I also poured the turmeric mixture. You don't have to strain that into a bowl. And then I poured the beet mixture. It's this one right here. You can see how brightly colored it is. And I strained out the beets. Now, side note, remember to keep the beets and the cabbage, because you're going to be able to use these in cooking later. Beets are fantastic to add to a smoothie, and or puree them up and add them to chocolate brownies or chocolate cupcakes. There's recipes around that in my book, Adventures in Veggieland. If you happen to have Adventures in Veggieland, I also wanted to call to your attention that when you turn to the spring chapter, where we talk about various spring vegetables, there's a really great recipe for deviled carrot eggs, where you include carrots in the deviled egg mixture. And I'll show you how to do that in a sec as well. But let's get back to coloring our eggs. Well, you're going to add just a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of salt, and that's going to make all the difference to get the color to stick. But when you divide the cabbage mixture into 2 different bowls, the way you get teal versus that purpley blue color is by adding baking soda. And I want you to remember that point, because when you put the baking soda in, it actually bubbles up into your dye, and the kids will love it. They'll love to see the bubbles coming up. So make sure that you're doing this with your kids, because it's a great way to make friends with cabbage or to make friends with beets. Even if they're not willing to taste any of the cabbage or the beets, that's okay. They're just learning that it's fun to be around them. What makes it even more fun is not only can you color the hard-boiled egg, you can see right here I've got a blue one that I did, and I've got, some of these are still a little bit wet, I just did them. This one, beautiful turmeric color. You can do the outside. Here's my pink one with the beets. You can do the outside, but you can also do the inside. So remember, when you're coloring the outside of an egg, you probably want to use an egg that has a white shell. But even if you have a brown shelled egg, inside, obviously they're going to be white. And all you do is go ahead and hard boil your eggs, slice them in half, and then scoop out those yolks, because we're going to use that for the filling. And you simply take the white of the egg, Submerge it in any color for, gosh, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Scoop it back out and let it dry. And now you've got naturally colored whites of the eggs. Aren't they pretty? The other thing I wanted to let you know is that if you've got a hesitant eater, when you go to adding the filling inside the egg, you might want to start with just a little bit. If they're a little bit more adventurous, you can fill it up all the way. But ideally, I'd really like you to have the kids participate in adding the filling to the center of the egg. By the way, you can also color the filling just by adding a few drops of any one of these colors. I just kept mine yellow, but I wanted to let you know you can do that too. All right, last tip then. When it comes to filling the eggs and you want the kids to participate, what you're going to do is just take a Ziploc bag. You could use a pastry bag if you wanted, but not everybody has those at home, and this works just as well. Take a Ziploc bag and just put it on top of, a small cup or a ramekin. So you simply scoop out, the kids can do this with you, your filling. And by the way, see how nice and smooth my filling is? I like to use Greek yogurt. I also love to add a little dash of balsamic vinegar, the white balsamic. It just gives it a little bit of tang. You'll find recipes for the filling on the internet or in my book, Adventures in Veggieland. Everybody has a different way of doing it. You definitely can make it in a food processor if you'd like, but see how smooth and creamy this is? I just smashed it with a fork and stirred it really well. So the kids can go ahead and fill up, if you've got a bunch of kids, you can have a bunch of different little Ziploc bags. Fill up their bag and look, see, you've got your ramekin. So now all you do is you just lift up your bag and it's perfect. No mess at all. And then I just give it a twist. If you want to tie it with a rubber band, that's fine too, but I usually just twist it. And then I hold it here, and I'm going to use a clean pair of kitchen shears, and all you do, depending on how much you want to squirt out, is you just snip off the end. And let me show you with my eggs. The kids can just swirl as much as they want into each egg. And then, this is just me, but I always like to take a little bit of dill and I like to sprinkle that on top. Remember, in Adventures in Veggieland, the recipe includes carrots. So if you also want to include a little bit of carrot love into your recipe, I love dill, then what you can do is have the kids help you. Just go ahead and steam some carrots, throw it into a blender or your food processor and just puree it, and then they can stir it into the filling mixture as well. Again, it's not about hiding vegetables. It's about making sure that kids know that it's fun to engage with carrots and cabbage and beets, and it's definitely fun to make naturally colored eggs.